Hello everyone, welcome back to another Flames War Battle Report. Again, we're going to be doing a mission from the SS book. This is going to be the Gauntlet mission, and I'll be attacking with the D-Day Germans, and Tito from Romania will be defending with the D-Day British. So this is my attacking force that we see in front of you. I'm going for the 9th Panzer Division again nice cheaper units. So this is an Armoured Panzergrenadier company, so the HQ consisting of 2 SMG teams and their half-tracks. I then have 2 full platoons of 7 MG42 teams with 4 half-tracks each, and first platoon is going to be a Panzer Pioneer platoon as well to help them dig in a bit better when needed. Debut from my channel is the SD-KFZ 251 flamethrowers. I also have 4 of the AA tracks and 4 armoured mortars, so quite a lot. But I also have a second formation, and that is another debut, the half-track scout company. So this is a command card formation, so half-track scout company. So my HQ is 1 SD-KFZ 250, and that has an MG. And with him are 2 troops of the SD-KFZ Scouts, and I also have a recon platoon as well, so that is 7 MG42 bases with 7 Scout half-tracks, and that's another debut for my channel. I can't remember using them, so I'm going to say debut for now. And right at the back, another debut. We have the SD-KFZ 234s, so these are basically the kind of Puma version of the Armoured 7.5cm. Just thought I'd add them in just to flesh out that formation a bit more. In support, still got more to go, we have a 7-man Fallschirmjäger team, so that is just 7 MG42 rifle teams and a HMG at the back added. And furthermore, with the support, I have a SD-KFZ 250 OP, rather use that than my proxy for my Panzer III from the Africa Corps, and he will be spotting for some Vesps, and another debut, the Hummels. So some big artillery coming Tito's way, so hopefully he's out of his foxholes, but hopefully it won't matter. So that is my list. Lots of infantry, lots of half-tracks, lots of quick painting to prepare for this. So let's see what Tito is going to be defending with. Back again with my list. I forgot there's a few more tricks up my sleeve in the form of my command card. So of course I've got the rebuilding 9th Panzer and half-track company scout card, my Panzer Pioneers, and of course I've gone for own goal just to delay his reserves ever so slightly to give him a bit of a better chance. And that's it, so now we'll have a look at his list. Hello everyone, so this is Tito's list. He is going for a Desert Rat motor company, so we haven't seen that one yet on my channel, and he's also using the 43rd Wessex Division, so basically they get a free automatic rally at one point in the game. So let's look how these are built up. So we have a HQ of 2 SMG teams, and then 2 full motor platoons, so that is just 4 Bren gun teams, a Piat and a 2-inch mortar in those, and then there are 2 units of 4 6-pounders, and we have 4 Vickers heavy machine guns and 4 3-inch mortars. Now that is it for the formation. Now, as with Tito's games, there will always be some proxies, as he is adamant he wants to use some models, but I do have some decent proxies. So we have 2 units of 4 17-pounders, so the real 17-pounders are at the front, and we're going to have to use 4 25-pounders at the back. Pains me to do it, but they're the same size base, so they should do, and they are British guns as well. Again, you can see the 2 Typhoons at the back. Not looking forward to seeing these guys come in. Hopefully they won't come in as much as they did for me, but I do have the AA to try and stop them. We have a full para platoon, and they are equipped with an additional Piat, so that's 7 Bren gun rifle teams and 2 Piats in that platoon. There are also 4 4.2-inch mortars, so that's the card that adds this to the force, and they do look like British, but I assure you they are French FTP platoon. So this is upgraded as well, so with them they're 7 Brengan rifle teams, a Piat and a mortar. So command cards, we have the Cautious Not Stupid, which is the Wessex division. We have the 4.2-inch mortars, the FTP platoon, and we have gammon bombs taken twice. So that is 2 100-point lists of lots of infantry. Not many tanks, but should make an interesting game, and good to try out this new mission as well. So just one more from the SS book to try out. So let's have a look at the board. Okay, so here's the table set up, just about ready to take a photo to send over to Tito so he can pick his deployment zones. We have a bit of a rise here, so I've put a couple of books under the mat to raise it up, put a little bit of crops on it to add a bit more terrain, little hill in the corner. We have a stream, so this is just a cross check, it's not like a river, plenty of crossing points, so two bridges, some fords, and we also have some more crops, trees dotted around, and then we have a small little village in the corner with a company and church. And that is today's board, so plenty of places for Tito to put his guns, especially on the rise, which is going to be a bit bad for me, but hopefully I can utilise the road to get into an objective a bit quicker. So let's have a look at deployment. Okay, so we've picked our deployment zones, quite interesting measuring this one out. Not like the other ones. So basically this is one of the British deployment zones. Up here goes 12 inches away from the edge all the way to 8 inches from the top there, and it's the same on the left hand side, so a bit blockage with some tall terrain, but this rise here is ideal for British artillery units, anti-tank guns. And this is where I put my objectives. Is basically quite a narrow corridor around here, wanting them put here so I can get into the building and hold it so I don't have to dig in straight away. And over here is this little box of my deployment, so at least I got most of the road, so I hopefully can road dash in my first turn, get into a good position on the objectives or as close as I can get, while I can't really do anything about the anti-tank guns because it's a meet and engagement for me, but at least he has no ranged in markers. So be quite an interesting game. So we're about to decide what we're putting in reserves. I've already written mine down, so we're waiting to see what the British are going to hold, and it's delayed reserves for them as well, so it's going to be a bit tricky. Hello everyone, so we've deployed. Me and Tito have frantically been hitting our calculators trying to get the best reserves. So I'll go over the British deployment and what's on the board. So on, which is my right flank, we have the Desert Rat 6-pounders, the FTP platoon 17-pounders, and the 4.2-inch mortars by here. So here you can see all the reserves. So the Paras, 2nd platoon of the Deserts, another 6-pounder platoon, and the Desert Rat mortars. And then over on my left flank, we've got more 17-pounders. This is where the big mortars are. So in the church courtyard, they were Vickers heavy machine guns. Sorry. So these are the bigger mortars, with the HQ and another platoon of infantry. So similar to Tito, I wasn't sure what to start with, so all my stuff is down on the edge. So we've got the armoured mortars, the 7.5 centimetre armoured guns, the HQ for the half tracks, the AA guns, the Hummels, and a 2nd platoon of the Armoured Grenadiers. So in front we have a column of half tracks with recon right at the front, the armoured Grens in the middle, and the HQ at the back. On my right flank I have the 250 Scout Troop with the flamethrower half tracks and the Vesps. On my left flank I have another troop of 250s, the Fallschirmjäger and the OP. So it's about getting down this road as quickly as possible for me, running down the the Gauntlet is the name of the mission, and that is what it is for me. So hopefully I can take minimal casualties as I go down the road and fan out to form my bridgehead, and that is it. I will have first turn, and so good luck to Tito, and we're going to be live streaming this, so let's hope we get everything squeaky clean. So this is the end of my movement. The recon platoon has road dashed down and is now behind the farmhouse, or most of them are anyway, and the heavy boys, the 251s, are lagging behind but hot on their tails. Further over, both of my flanks have fanned out. The flamethrowers have crossed into the woods. The 4 and the 5 are what I required, and I only needed a 3. I could have done a cross here, but they didn't need it. These scouts are tuckering in behind the woods, and over here the Fallschirmjäger, with the help of a follow me from the unit leader, has moved into the woods. There's the die I rolled for that, which was a 3 required to get in there because it is a motivation. And there's the other scouts. And that is my movement. And that is my shooting done, so we'll be going into the British move, and I'll just show Tito what I've done as well, so for him to counter. Okay, so there was no British movement. There was something to do in the startup step, which was to roll to see if the Typhoons came on. They needed 4+, and unfortunately they did not come on. So we went straight into the shooting. Luckily, I only lost the 1 half track, but I did lose one of the Grenadier teams that were riding in it. And one of my recons have been bailed out, which is unfortunate. So that was it for the damage on my spear tip. And on my left flank there was a few other casualties, so I lost a Fallschirmjäger, and one of my my scout half tracks had been bailed out. The cheeky little 17-pounders in the town did fire at my Vesps. Luckily no hits, so I'm going to have to try and stop that for next turn anyway. So here we go now into German turn. So in the startup step, I passed all of my motivation, so that's going really well for me. And the added bonus, I even got some reserves in. So I brought in my Armoured Grenadiers, and I brought them on my right flank to threaten these cheeky 6-pounders and the French resistance. So that is my motivation, so now I shall go into the movement. Okay, so for my movement, the recon platoon has gone into the farmhouse, and the Grenadiers and the HQ have got out their half tracks, and I've sent them to the rear. I've kept the recon ones around since they got a decent block in from the farmhouse, so they can't be seen from that side at least. Over here, I'm going to try and put as much damage on these 6-pounders as I can. So the flamethrowers went straight through the forest. I got 3s for both of them, which was the bare minimum I needed, and the recon are coming around as well to hopefully get some of the French resistance. And over on my left flank, was trying to go into here to stay in concealment, but then I remembered all these guys are on higher ground, and higher ground will just cancel out short terrain. But the Fallschirmjäger, I kept on moving. So that is my movement, and now I do have some stuff to shoot this time. So so here we go into the shooting. Okay, so as my guys advanced on my left flank, I fired quite a few shots into the 17-pounders, but unfortunately couldn't quite get through the sandbags and the gun shield. I did manage to range in on the 3rd attempt though into the town, so I didn't get any hits on the 17-pounders. Over here there's been quite a few hits, but unfortunately no casualties yet, so hopefully the assault can put an end to these stubborn 6-pounders. So we're going into turn 2, assault. So as you can see, there's a 6-pounder shaped hole by here. The assault went rather well. I also found out when you roll for counterattack, you just roll the 1 dice no matter what units, and then you just use that against the motivation for everyone. So unfortunately we did have two little groups of assaults. So we had one just swung back and forth, and then eventually the 6-pounders broke off and got captured, and the French infantry had to back away. So the dice are just marking the ones who moved and who are out of their foxholes now. So but that is it. So that is now going into British turn 2, and let's see what they're going to get up to. So for motivation, the French unfortunately did not rally. They needed a 5, and they also failed to dig in. So basically only the 3 marked with dice are outside of foxholes. The 17-pounders have rotated to bear down on the half tracks. This one had to go beyond the front, so he will be moving rate of fire. Typhoons have come in though, which is a bit of a problem for me, so lots of targets by here. These gentlemen have blitzed forward, so 3 of them can also hose down my guys, and a couple of the elements of the motor platoon up here have moved into range of my Fallschirmjäger, and that is British movement. And now we get into the shooting phase. So the shooting was a little bit ineffective from the Germans, from the British, unfortunately. Massive amounts of MG fire, but not getting much. Couple of infantry stands going down, a couple of bailed out half tracks. The biggest thing was basically my recon is probably going to end up going away, but that is it for now. So we'll go into my motivation step and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so for my motivations, I rallied everyone, and unfortunately I couldn't get my half track back in, and my recon managed to stick around, so he's just going to go on a Death or Glory mission. In my movement, I've dug in the Fallschirmjäger, the Pioneers, and that is it for the middle. And over here, I've dismounted my Grenadiers. They're going to have a little pop at the French, along with the flamethrowers and the recon half tracks. Unfortunately, no reserves for me this turn, so I'm stuck with what I've got, but at least I will get something in next turn, and hopefully those pesky Typhoons will stay away. And here we go into my shooting. Okay, so shooting wise, I only got 1 hit on the French resistance. Bit good I didn't pin them, and then I got reminded that they were already pinned anyway, so that was unnecessary, but at least I can go into an assault. My artillery managed to get rid of one of the 17-pounders, so that's quite good. Didn't get enough hits on the HMGs to pin them or kill any of them, unfortunately. And same over here. Tried to see if I could get rid of a couple of the Desert Rat motor platoon, but couldn't quite get enough. And that is my shooting, so I have a assault on the French resistance. Right, so unfortunately I only managed to get rid of one of the French resistance teams, and I lost 4 of my Grenadiers in the process, and I'm stuck in the open, so that's unfortunate. So here we go now into British turn 3. Okay, so no casualties for my exposed Grenadiers over here, which is lucky, and these 17-pounders didn't really do anything. The mixture of mortars and heavy machine guns has whittled my Panzer Pioneers down to last standing territory, and unfortunately my last recon scout has bought it. So going into German turn 4. So for my motivations, everything has rallied. This scout car remains bailed out, and these guys have thankfully stuck around. Have we realised I did feel like I'd forgotten a reserve roll at some point, and that was turn 1. I forgot to roll for that, but it doesn't matter. So I did get some reserves this turn. I brought in the Hummels behind this hill over here, so hopefully next turn I can start putting some nice templates down for them. Apart from that, these scouts have moved more into the centre of the board, keeping in cover as much as I can. Probably get picked off by some big guns at some point, and my Grenadiers have got back into their half tracks to get a little bit more cover away from these French infantry. And that is it for my movement. Now we're going into the shooting phase again. Okay, for my shooting, I didn't really achieve anything over here. I have got rid of another 17-pounder in the courtyard by here, so that's quite good. And I didn't get rid of any of the French. My flamethrowers seem to be out of fuel. And that is it. So now we're going into British turn 4. Again, the French resistance have not rallied, the 17-pounders have. We have had reserves this time. Got a Tito rolled 2 dice, he got a 5 on one of them. I did roll my own goal card, but unfortunately he just rolled another 5. So we had movement, so these guys dashed in. These guys, 2 of them have moved closer to the edge of the forest so they can shoot, and the motor platoon and the HQ are finally moving down from the hill to contest the objective, or objectives, and that is where we end the movement, and now we go into the shooting again. Okay, so a smoke screen has gone up to cover the advance of the motor platoon contingent. These MGs managed to pin down the grenadiers, but no kills. My scout troop that went across field have taken 2 hits and 1 is bailed, so it'd be a miracle if they stick around, and that was pretty much it. So now we're going into my turn 5, while I'm clinging onto the farmhouse. So going into turn 5, I got 3 lots of reserves on, so I put my AA guns right into the crossroad, so hopefully get rid of some marauding typhoons. My 8cm mortars have moved on, and the HQ of the half-track scout company have moved on as well. Further movement, I'm going to move the Fallschirmjäger next, move them up. Other movement I have done, the flamethrowers have moved ever so slightly closer to the French to try and get rid of them. And I've just shuffled round my scout half-tracks to hose down the MGs, and hopefully that can get rid of them, or at least pin them, because they're never going to rally being their desert rats, although they do have the Wessex card mind, and that is it. So I'll move the Fallschirmjäger and then get into shooting.
Closer and closer, my friend.
Yes.
Victory's near.
So with the smoke in the way, the artillery had to do the job. Luckily I did pin both units down and took out one of the Brown gun teams. Over here, a mixture of pretty much every MG and rifle shot took out 3 of the Brown gun, of the Vickers heavy machine guns. And as I'm working my way over, I just realised I still have the flamethrowers and the half-tracks to fire over here, so I'll get back to that and see what happens. Shooting recap continued. The flamethrowers did score a hit this time but didn't kill anyone, but the half-tracks managed to take out another French team, so that is quite cool. And that is it for the shooting. We have got some last standing units for the British, so now we're moving into British turn 5. Okay, so in the motivation, Tito used his Wessex card to auto-rally his platoon here. They have then moved to the river, leaving the mortar behind to contest this objective. The HQ unfortunately did not rally. The aircraft came in, which is good for him. The motor platoon, however, did not. The Vickers heavy machine guns did not rally, but stuck around. And again, the French have not rallied, and the 17-pounders. But another motor platoon has arrived from reserve to take on the half-tracks here. So still in the balance here, as Tito is warming his dice up for his 17-pounders again. So here we go into shooting. So shooting wise, Tito has marked my AA guns as primary target, leaving me with just 1. And that is, I think, it. We got a bailed out half-track over here, courtesy of a Piat. The Typhoons, unfortunately, basically tried to range in on the house, but they were unsuccessful. So now is the assault that is coming, and here we go. It was fairly do or die over here. 8 shots I hit with, and that wiped out those brave desert rats. So that basically going into next turn, I would start and end with guys on the objective, leaving me the victor. I probably should I'll do my turn with my last stands, etc., because that will affect the margin of victory. So First up, let's do the guys to see if they run. They do not, and then the AA gun gets a 6. So in total, I've lost 2 units total. So that's just a what's that with 2?
It's a victory.
Yeah, it's a victory.
It's a 7-2.
It's a 7-2. Yeah, yeah. No, it's a good game. It did obviously have a optimized list to help me out. So my man of the match. Probably the 250 recon platoon, just for the fact that they got onto objective turn 1 and just cemented themselves in our farmhouse and put on a brew and just couldn't be moved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they actually did all the hosing down of my infantry. So, yeah.
Your man of the match?
My man of the match are, you will not believe it, the Frenchies.
Really?
Yeah, because they did really good on that side. They kept 3 units, so 1 major armored company stuck, 1 flamethrower company, and don't forget they killed pretty much everything they had in assault.
It's pretty much,
They didn't give any ground to anybody, and of course, I was expecting this. Me moving towards the objective, it was pretty much suicidal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think honourable mention to your heavy mortars. They did wreak a lot of havoc and gave a good smoke bombardment as well, yeah.
I was expecting them to do that. The Frenchies did really good for what I was expecting of them, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, so did you enjoy the game, though?
Yeah, pretty much. It just went actually better than I expected. I was expecting you to face roll me much harder, but basically it came down to the 6th turn when I needed to be on the objective, and I couldn't kill your half trucks in time, and that meant that you were going to hose down the entirety of my infantry that was running towards the objectives. The only problem, I mean not problem, but downside, and the thing that I was expecting to do more were the Typhoons. I was expecting them to get more than 1 bale on your half trucks, ranging in twice on them. But that's life with the Typhoon, I think.
Yeah. I found
if they would have managed to get rid of the half trucks of the reconnaissance platoon, then the game would have looked completely different. But that was a very long shot. One thing that helped me again was the fact that you decided to pull off your Armoured Grenadier half trucks, and that gave me some breathing space, and that was a bit of a let's say not really mistake, but I would have kept the half trucks on the table and used them as shields against my upcoming infantry, let's say. But other than that, you played it fair and square. You moved to the objective. You settled down, as you said. Unfortunately, this mission, if you do not run any kind of tanks, it's absolutely impossible to go close to the objective. Your enemy has 16 inches to get to the objective zone, and basically that means only dashing. When he has half trucks and roads and stuff like that, it's absolutely impossible to stop it. And other than that, yeah, it was a good mission. It was very pleasant playing with you.
Yeah, it always is.
I'm looking forward to testing other lists, if you're willing, maybe some Soviets at a point when you'll be able to get some of the Soviets forces for you. Other than that, it's been really nice. Soren commented something on my stream, but guys, we were expecting this. Nothing bad happened. It's just life. Life goes that way. It's proven that you need tanks in your list. especially when, for example, this list might have worked if my dear friend Rob would have had some tanks with him in his formation. With him having only half trucks, then all my guns were actually useless.
I feel if I had had any tanks, I wouldn't have had many tanks for long if they had popped on or thing. But what were you saying about the Typhoons? When I used them last game, because I had like quite a few turns from the come in, I realised they're kind of better to use the cannons.
Yeah, I think I should have used the cannons also, but I was just hoping to go for the kills on your hot tracks because I was only ranging in on 4s. If they would have been in a hayfield or somewhere with terrain, I would have probably shot the cannons for sure and probably got a bit more kills or at least bales. But there I had the 4+ ranging, so basically it was a 50-50 chance to hit you on the first, and then from the 7 half tracks I would have been supposed to hit at least 3 and probably kill at least 2 of them each turn. So basically, doing the math, I would have got rid of at least 4 half tracks with the 2 passes that I had, but unfortunately I just got 1 bale, so yeah. That's how it goes. And don't forget that 70 pounder also did 2 bales, so
Yeah, I think your first opening salvo of guns was extremely ineffective, and the fact that you didn't hit a single Vesp all game was
yeah. I mean, I was expecting